I distrust streaming services. Not because they're bad, quite the opposite in fact. It has never been easier for the casual listener to enjoy music than it is right now. As such, I'm sure that tomorrow will be the day that the record industry decides they're going to remove their entire catalogs and attempt to create their own, shittier services. In the meantime though, I'm all for it. Especially since they've gotten really good at allowing people to discover new music, whether by being able to just search anything that suddenly gets brought to your attention, or through their own playlist algorithms. For example, one day not too long ago, I was listening to Spotify and No More Lonely Nights came on.
I can wait another day.
I already liked that song, but this time, and much to my surprise, the version had a little bit of an intro that I didn't recognize. So I switched tabs and discovered that it was the version from the album it came from, Give My Regards to Broad Street. Digging a little deeper told me it was a soundtrack album. I didn't even know there was a movie attached to it, and now that I do and I've seen it, can I just say, the movie isn't very good. Paul McCartney's Give My Regards to Broad Street is... the best way to describe it is as a portrait of the artist as a 42-year-old man. Paul McCartney isn't just the lead, he wrote the movie, it's his soundtrack and it's his money financing the whole thing. And, for all that I'm about to say about this film, it should be pointed out that, if nothing else, we got an excellent song from it. So let's just give this thing a quick once-over, starting with the title.
Give my regards to Broadway.
The title is a play on Give My Regards to Broadway. As I understand it, by which I mean, from skimming its Wikipedia article, it seems to be about an incredibly patriotic American jockey who travels to England, and why am I saying this? This movie doesn't have an absolute goddamn thing to do with any of this. A Britified version of the song is used to send the MacGuffin tapes and their holder on their merry way, but we'll come back to this. For now, the beginning. Paul McCartney plays popular artist Paul McCartney, who, as I understand it, was once a member of a popular beat combo. We meet him reminiscing about the past while enjoying a typical London morning. Unfortunately, this flashback takes him to a moment in time where his troubles were a little bit more than traffic.
Yes, Steve.
We're up a gum tree, Macca.
Why, what's up?
The whole bloody game's up. The tapes have vanished.
Oh, that. Not to worry. Harry's got them.
Yeah, well, that's just it. He was due there 3 hours ago and he hasn't shown up yet. I rang his ever-loving missus, but she's worried because he didn't come home last night.
Did you try Sandra?
Yeah, well, she hasn't seen him either.
Okay. Don't tell anyone. I'll be right with you.
Oh wait, I know this one. So there's your plot. The tapes are missing and presumed stolen by an ex-felon. They have until midnight to get them, or the record label gets bought out by Mr. No Good Evil Person Rat there. So what is Paul going to do about it? Nothing.
This looks like a job for the proper authorities!
Here's where we get our first negative from the movie. It has no plot. Instead of dropping everything and trying desperately to find the tapes, like an ordinary movie would, he just goes about his day and lets the proper authorities take care of it. The proper authorities that seem to just follow Paul around from location to location as he keeps his schedule. Rat also follows them around, in what has to be the most conspicuous stealth car in London. So what happens on this super busy day?
Yesterday.
Singing, mostly. This is where that negative becomes a positive, because we are treated to a medley of old Wings and Beatles material combined with new all-original songs. Some of them are just as charming as the originals, others... Did you want silly love songs sung by Paul McCartney and Wings as interpreted by someone who mixed Bowie and Devo in a blender? Why did you want that? No, Paul, I'm afraid this one is a little bit silly. On the other hand, silly is perhaps the wrong descriptor for what happens a little later, when Paul is in the middle of a small recording session at the BBC, and in the middle of Eleanor Rigby, suddenly we... go to a different movie. This scene goes on forever, though I have to say there's nothing wrong with Paul and his bro Ringo having a nice lakeside picnic. I'd ship that, but it's a shame that it just keeps going, and going, and going. How does Paul know he's being followed by a carriage car like that?
That's it, you're finished.
I like to think that he stopped in the middle of the recording, sat there for hours, and everyone was just too polite and British to snap him out of it. Still, the problem with not looking for the missing tapes that will save your company is that they won't appear out of nowhere. Without much else to do, Paul wallows in melancholy while driving through London to the sounds of an excellent remaster of The Long and Winding Road. A scene which would be a lot more poignant were it not for the fact that he's doing so in a life-size Matchbox toy. Finally, he makes it to Broad Street Station and then he remembers.
Good night all, I'm off to Broad Street. I give my regards to Broad Street, remember me to Leicester Square. Give my regards to Broad Street, because you know that I'll be there. Wait.
Spurred by this, and with just a couple of minutes before the midnight deadline, he makes the investigative leap to search for the missing person on the last location he told multiple witnesses he was going to. Yes. Apparently that box sat there unattended on a busy London station for an entire day and nobody so much as touched it. I'm skeptical of this. Anyway, where's the guy?
Harry?
What are you doing here? It locks from the outside, I couldn't get out. I banged all night. Thought it was your toilet.
Gentlemen, we got the tapes.
And then he wakes up. This is the second and by far the largest negative.
You're a long way away, mate.
It's not a flashback, this entire narrative was just a dream.
How we doing?
Unsurprisingly, I was as annoyed as anyone would be. I have to believe All Just a Dream was already an annoying cliché by 1984. But it does excuse some things, like all of the subplots coming to nothing. Yes, there's a couple of subplots. For instance, the journalist writing an article that hooks up with Ringo, a notorious bootlegger called Big Bob who doesn't have the tapes but is perfectly friendly with Paul and offers to buy them from him, Tom the Roadie's impending and entirely justified death at smashing Big Bob's new truck, all of them just figurative brain farts as Paul slips his way through congestion. Come to think of it, that means that he hyperfixated on the dream within the dream for a while. And of course he knows the bad guy is on a black vehicle with mirrored windows. He's also a figment of his imagination, though since Bro was stuck in a shed, Rod was following Paul and company around because he had nothing better to do. And now I'm just talking about an exhaust fume-addled dream. This is not an especially good movie. As it stands, the album went gold, which, fine. Much like the Blues Brothers 2000 soundtrack, there's some decent music in there, though the ratio is worse here than on that one, and Paul left all of the movie transition bits in it. As far as the movie is concerned, it got ignored by audiences and discarded by the critics. Honestly, the film may have done a lot better if it had just been a concert film. Those absolutely existed in 1984. The entire plot added, what, 15 minutes to the runtime? If he'd just dropped the plot and gave us fun music videos with a little bit of chat about the album between songs, it would have probably been much better received. I found one review that claimed that the film originated as a television show. I couldn't find anything else to support this, and the movie itself certainly doesn't look like it could have been one, unless it was just a Paul McCartney variety hour sponsored by Colgate and American Oil and Gasoline with special guest star Ringo Starr. Really, the entire project just ends up looking like a flimsy excuse to create a film to promote an album, no matter how much attention and money Paul lavished on it, and no matter how much that wasn't the intention. So in this case, no, I think you can probably skip the movie and just go straight to the soundtrack. If you still want to see it after all of this, it's right here on YouTube somewhere, and from there you can decide if the album was worth it.